Video's coming out a little bit late because we had a little going away dinner, but it's better late than never, right? So we're going to get into the technical analysis for the SPY, Qs, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, and NVIDIA. Normally we break down the whole breakdown of the thing on different times and stuff like that, but we're just going to do the hourly because I'm still in moving mode, okay? So as we look at the SPY here, we can see that we're outside of our weekly range, and this is the weekly range that's priced in from options, and we could land back in this range 68% of the time, okay? So the fact that we are seeing this divergence here, we need this to first get into negative territory to start that negative trend, but it's a good sign that we're getting that confirmation. I just want you to know that there is a chance that this MACD curls up one more time and gives us another little push higher before coming back down, right? So we really want to pay attention to what's happening tomorrow, see if we do close back in within this range. But I think it's very important to notice that even though you have divergence, this trend can continue a little bit higher, and you're going to wait for that maybe triple divergence to set up for you in the future, and then we could land back in this zone. We're really going to pay attention to this tomorrow. The Qs here, they're running into some trouble right at that weekly range. So these ranges here can prove as resistance level because, this is what the options have priced in for the week. And you do have that 68% chance by the end of the week. So by tomorrow close, okay? Now, the same thing holds true for the SPY. We're not down in that negative territory, right? And we could, curl back up one more time before this thing is able to get into negative territory. And that's why I'm just overall going to say we really want to pay attention for when this switches over to negative and we're able to remain in negative territory for quite some time. Now, Apple, I did put up those weekly ranges here just so you can see how we're struggling right at that point, right? We easily could have gapped above this and started to go higher, but we're not really breaking through that area at this point. Doesn't mean we can't curl up one more time, maybe even come fill this gap, right? But it just tells us we have a 68% chance to land back in between these two white lines here. As far as all these divergences go, I am still waiting for Apple to really start that negative trend. And usually you need some kind of sell-off, like some good sell-off in order for that trend to go negative. So if we really wanted to see this thing, get into negative territory and remain there into next week, we would really want to see this actually start to close at lower levels, maybe even fill this gap down here by tomorrow, and then we can set up the new weekly ranges for next week. Tesla, we were talking about how there's divergences between these lows here. Then you get the head and shoulders set up. It played to the upside. So congratulations if you were in this trade. And overall, we are stating here, this looks like some kind of retest in a, gap fill area. So this is very important from here. And this is why I was just saying it looks like we could pull back. Now, I didn't know that we would pull back, 4% in one day. I kind of thought this would be kind of a nothing day, maybe kind of like this price action. But hey, we get a little sell-off, and I overall am paying attention to this level of about, 223. I think a retest of this area would be good. And the overall thing with Tesla that I'm really paying attention to is if we keep the momentum of keep getting higher lows, I'm really going to pay attention to that in Tesla. Amazon, I did put up the weekly ranges. That would be these white lines here. And you see how we react off of these ranges, right? We get up to it, we sell off a little bit, we try to consolidate and break through it one more time, and then we break down. And then what happens after that? We actually go test the lower side of the weekly expected move, okay? And we see some buying come up from that. So these weekly ranges can act like magnets at times, and they can act as resistance and support. So we really want to pay attention to them. If you guys are interested in getting these weekly ranges, there's actually a link down in the description. You can get these ranges directly from me. One important thing with Amazon here is we see this sell-off, and that's the kind of dramatic sell-off we need in order to get into negative territory. And we're starting to get into negative territory. We're not fully, I would say, in it yet. And if this MACD does curl up, it will be in positive territory. Maybe we actually go test this level right here of 147 one more time before we actually see a breakdown. So we really want to pay attention to this, but this is a very good sign, Amazon actually being able to go into negative territory at this point. On the flip side, NVIDIA did have a little bit of a breakdown, right? We saw this tiny pullback here, right? This could just be another small pullback to then push higher because we are still in positive territory down here on the MACD. But we see all the divergences. If this were to turn higher, you might get another point of divergence, most likely, right? And then maybe that's able to turn us down into negative territory. So the overall theme for today is, yes, it looks like a lot of these divergences are starting to play out, but there still could be one more push higher. We just need to wait for the trigger of, is it in negative territory, and is the trend going to start to be down? The last thing I wanted to talk about was the VIX. And overall, I'm just going to show you this on an hourly here. I still believe the VIX has potential to get above 20 very soon and scare people out of this market before we actually see that Christmas rally, okay? But as we look at the hourly here, we need this to remain in positive territory. In order to see a downturn in the market, you're going to need the VIX to start to create a positive trend, meaning get above the center line on the MACD here. And you can see how tight this really is. We're right at that center line. And the overall thing that I'm saying needs to happen is you see this big pop here. We're not able to remain in positive territory for long. We need this to remain in positive territory for quite some time to see that downturn. The main takeaway here is, yes, we're seeing some of these divergences confirm, and we're actually seeing a few stocks start to break down from this level, and even Amazon getting into negative territory, but we really need the overall market, meaning the SPY and Qs, to get into negative territory on an hourly to start that downward trend. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. I'm going to fix the setup soon. I just have to get moved, okay? But I wish you all the luck in the world tomorrow, and I hope you have a great night, all right? Peace.